saya kembali menjumpai Anda dalam program talk show saya, Rosi. Ya, sebagai seorang perempuan, boleh dong saya memiliki, kalau sekarang istilahnya yang lagi ngetren tuh diskresi. Memiliki kebijakan untuk memilih siapa narasumber episode pertama saya. Ia juga seorang perempuan. Karirnya begitu cemerlang, melesat sebagai seorang pengamat ekonomi yang begitu disayang oleh media. Dan kini ia berada dalam puncak karir, benarkah? Tetapi justru pada saat yang sama, bisa jadi ia berada dalam catatan terberat yang pernah ia alami sepanjang karirnya. Siapakah dia? Kita lihat sama-sama.
Kalau menurut interpretasi Bu Ani, good governance itu apa dalam bidang pekerjaan Anda?
Yaitu kalimat yang begitu populer seperti yang tadi disebutkan Wimar sesudah tumbangnya Presiden Soeharto, karena waktu itu orang menganggap bahwa Indonesia diurus dengan suatu governance, cara mengelola governance itu adalah yang tidak sesuai dengan barangkali aspirasi masyarakat. Apa sih sebetulnya yang diharapkan masyarakat? Pertama, mengelola negara itu adalah suatu entitas publik.
Ya.
Ini bukan entitas pribadi.
Ya.
Jadi kalau saya menjadi pejabat publik, saya tahu konsekuensinya pada hari pertama saya menerima tanggung jawab itu, bahwa pertama publik berharap sesuatu, yang saya pegang kewenangan maupun otoritas maupun berbagai macam sumber daya yang begitu melimpah, itu bukan milik saya.
Kemarin televisi saya dengar salah seorang juru bicara tim sukses, saya nggak sebut yang mana. Dia katakan sebetulnya kalau presiden ingin berbisnis itu oke saja, karena toh kita tahu apa bisnisnya dan kita percaya mereka adalah pemimpin bangsa. Itu rada janggal sebab menurut saya jangankan presiden, menteri koordinator, wakil presiden itu pun jangan berbisnis. Menurut Anda mutlak tidak gitu untuk good governance soal pemisahan?
Saya rasa yang menjadi concern dari masyarakat, tadi saya bicara tentang public officer atau seorang pejabat publik, adalah bisa memisahkan garis antara kepentingan publik dan kepentingan pribadi.
Please welcome the former Minister of Finance. Now Managing Director of the World Bank. Clap again, please, for Ibu Sri Mulyani.
Thank you, Tom.
Economist, professor, finance minister, and now managing director at the World Bank. But Sri Mulyani Indrawati is much more than a string of titles. She was brought in by Indonesian President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono as the architect for a bold range of reforms in this country of 240 million, including trying to clean up corruption and nepotism in Indonesia's massive bureaucracy. And she made progress. Prudent, determined, and always well-researched, she fired people who weren't doing their jobs in her own ministry and started investigations into a range of state institutions. But this also made her enemies. She was burnt in effigy in Jakarta and had to face an investigation into how she handled the bailout of an Indonesian bank during the financial crisis. She cleared her name, but mudslinging and threats stayed ugly.
Demi Allah, saya bersumpah bahwa saya sebagai saksi akan memberikan kesaksian dengan sebenar-benarnya.
Ini butuh kan gede banget nih, nggak kebayang deh.
Suka butuh iya atau tidak, Ibu Sri? Ini ucapan Ibu bukan?
Saya berhak menjawab cukup banyak juga ya Pak ya, soal itu ya Pak ya.
Tidak mikir yang lain kecuali mikir Bang Santuri begitu Ibu ya?
Enggak Pak, saya mikir keluarga Mas.
Yeay. Ya, itulah tamu pertama saya, tidak lain dan tidak bukan Menteri Keuangan Republik Indonesia, Dr. Sri Mulyani Indrawati. Mbak Ani, saya masih boleh tetap panggil Mbak Ani dong?
Boleh.
Ya kan Mbak ya?
Apa kabar?
How are you?
Apa?
Gimana Mbak? Kita boleh tepuk tangan sekali lagi untuk Mbak Ani. Silakan Mbak Ani. Mbak, apa rasanya Mbak Ani melihat wajah Mbak Ani kalau didemo oleh mahasiswa dan digambarkan sebagai seorang vampire atau Dracula?
Itu kreativitas dari yang bikin foto saya itu.
Sama lagi dari ujung, dari Sabang sampai Merauke.
Saya kagum aja, kagum. Dia cetak banyak bener. Dia cetak gambar saya. Suka. Sebetulnya kalau nggak pakai taring sama itu kelihatannya agak keren saya itu. Kayaknya.
Mbak Ani sebagai seorang perempuan, apa rasanya duduk di kursi panas gitu ya dan menjawab pertanyaan-pertanyaan agresif di hadapan anggota pansus yang terhormat?
Saya sebetulnya agak terhibur aja Pak waktu itu ya. Soalnya lucu tuh anggota pansus tuh sebagian besar adalah orang-orang yang saya kenal. Selama 5 tahun saya menjadi menteri. Dan sebagian bahkan saya sangat kenal sekali karena kita waktu menghadapi krisis itu bersama-sama. Dan
kalau di dalam ilmu ekonomi ada namanya John Maynard Keynes. Dia ekonom terkenal dari Inggris. Dia mengatakan in the long run we are all dead. Jadi adalah kalau bicara kalau nanti saja. Kita bicara sekarang, saya lakukan terbaik dan itu adalah sesuatu yang saya anggap sikap paling baik. Rakyat senang, pemilih saya jadi pejabat, waktu itu saya ngerjain sungguh-sungguh. Jangan masih di sini terus mikirin kemana-mana, apalagi roadshow, aduh, dan bikin proposal, aduh, itu juga rakyat. Mereka, jangan dikira rakyat itu so sensitif. Mereka sangat pinter, mereka bisa membaca, mereka melihat kita, mereka menilai. Saya sangat menghargai karena saya bagian dari rakyat itu sendiri. Saya adalah rakyat juga.
Tapi dengan segala apa yang sudah Ibu alami, Ibu tidak kapok kan menjadi pejabat politik di negeri ini?
Pejabat politik itu apa ya?
Ya misalnya pejabat negara,
politik itu apa? Banyak pejabat politik. Saya hanya mengatakan bahwa apapun posisi dan tempat ataupun lokasi itu tidak boleh dijadikan alasan untuk mengatakan saya tidak bisa tuh memperbaiki republik ini.
Ya, terakhir Bu, mungkin sebelum berangkat ke Amerika ada yang Ibu ingin sampaikan atau Ibu memberi pesan begitu?
The louder voices calling for greater political union in the Eurozone is Indrawati Mulyani. She is one of the 3 managing directors under President Robert Zolik at the World Bank. She joins us now from St. Petersburg. Nice to have you with us.
The managing director of the World Bank Group gave an exclusive interview to Economy Report on Wednesday. We talked to her about what inclusive development means to sustaining global growth.
Sri Mulyani Indrawati, managing director of the World Bank Group, says,
if the position were decided strictly on merit, one candidate hard to ignore would be the World Bank's managing director and former Indonesian finance minister Sri Mulyani, who has a reputation for calling a spade a spade. Sri Mulyani, welcome to the program.
My pleasure, Jim.
界银行常务副行长斯利穆尔雅尼·英德拉瓦蒂女士一行11人成功访问我校。英德拉法蒂女士的演讲及回答师生问题表现出的魅力令全体师生钦佩。我校英德拉法蒂副行长对我校表现出浓厚的兴趣。优美的校园环境、良好的基础设施、友好活跃的座谈和交流气氛，给英德拉法蒂副行长一行留下了深刻的印象。
Well, delegates from the World Bank have gathered in Washington for their 4-day spring meeting. Among them is the World Bank Managing Director and former Indonesian Finance Minister, Sri Mulyani Indrawati. She is the institution's highest-ranking woman and an advocate not only for economic growth in emerging markets, but also for what she calls better quality growth. She joins us now on the Global Exchange from Washington. It's great to have you on.
In 2010, she joined the World Bank, which one commentator called Indonesia's loss and the world's gain.
The course teaches how to uncover corruption and expose it. After the training, these young investigators will join the International Corruption Hunters Alliance, a network of anti-corruption officials from more than 40 countries. This worldwide alliance is meeting for the first time at the World Bank's Washington headquarters. The corruption hunters are dedicated to stepping up the prosecutions of transnational bribery cases. They share information, monitor results, and work on sharing the proceeds of global settlements.
Corruption fighter usually is a lonely job, and Vice President for the integrity under World Bank initiate this communication and networking with many of the corruption hunter. I think from the moral support this is very important, but from the networking point of view, in which we've already established and starting this networking across the region in Latin America, in Middle East, Africa, East Asia and South Asia, I think it will be very good to create an effective networking, because corruption, especially across border, will be very difficult to fight if there is no coordination and sharing information.
On a day where we have had so many powerful women, it's my pleasure to introduce the next. Our next speaker has been designated as one of the 100 most powerful women by Forbes magazine on a number of occasions. Sri Mulyani Indrawati is the managing director of the World Bank Group. She's been in that position since 2010, and she oversees the bank's operations in all the regions of the world. Previously, she served as Indonesia's Minister of Finance and coordinator for economic affairs, and at that point, she guided that country's economic policy, navigating successfully the global economic crisis, implementing key reforms, and fighting corruption. She's also credited with helping to steer Indonesia through the transition from autocracy to democracy. Before that, she led the Indonesian National Development Planning Agency, and at that point, she was charged with helping Indonesia recover from the devastating 2004 tsunami. And she was also executive director at the International Monetary Fund. Her efforts and her dedication have not gone unnoticed internationally. In 2006, she was named Euromoney magazine's Global Finance Minister of the Year, and Emerging Markets newspaper selected her as Asia's best finance minister for 2 years in a row. I am delighted to say that she's going to speak to us this afternoon on issues related to security, democracy, and development. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Sri Mulyani Indrawati.
Thank you, Don, for a very generous introduction. I've been invited today to speak about security, development, and democracy. As the introductory remark, you may ask, what is the Managing Director of the World Bank and former Finance Minister of Indonesia have to say about this issue? To be honest, it's quite a lot. I will try to share with you this afternoon.
It's a company. So let me start with Sri Mulyani Indrawati, the Managing Director of the World Bank, on access to capital, and also maybe say a few words about the work you did in Indonesia, which was truly groundbreaking.
Thank you, Secretary Clinton. It's really an honor as well as pleasant to work with you all here.
Sri Mulyani Indrawati is here. She is one of the managing directors of the World Bank. She oversees operations in Latin America and the Caribbean, East Asia, and the Pacific, and the Middle East and North Africa. Prior to joining the bank in 2010, she was the finance minister of Indonesia. She was praised for efforts to implement economic reforms, tackle corruption, and increase the tax base. Indonesia is today one of the fastest growing economies in the world. I am very pleased to have her here at this table to talk not only about the World Bank, but also about emerging nations and about Indonesia. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Are you going to go back to Indonesia and run for president?
Well, that is a very frequent question.
Yes.
I am now managing director of the bank, which oversees more than 70 countries across a very dynamic region. So I think I enjoy the job now. People may have an expectation, and I feel honored that they think that I can contribute good thing to Indonesia.
To Phil. Thank you.
Axel, thank you very much indeed for that very generous and handsome introduction to our guests and to Sri Mulyani this morning. When I came in, it was very clear to me that something very special was going on in here by way of an anniversary.
Thank you very much. It's a very generous introduction, and I'm certainly very delighted to be here on my first official visit to the Netherlands since becoming managing director at the World Bank, and certainly also very delighted to celebrate with you all the 40th anniversary of the NCDO. It's very impressive to hear the history as well as the thinking and the goals of this organization. And also amazing to see its unwavering effort to promote international cooperation. As the first Indonesia Managing Director, stressing science education and training as the #1 priority for her government.
Thank you very much, Tony. It's actually hard to make a speech a serious one after you have all these fun and happy faces. But I'll try. In my work, I'm always considering global economic prospect when I'm thinking about our future.
I now have the pleasure to give the floor to Ms. Sri Mulyani Indrawati, Managing Director of the World Bank, to make her remarks. Your Excellency, you have the floor.
Thank you, Deputy Secretary, Secretary General, distinguished panelists and delegates. It is really great pleasure that I joined you for the opening of the third session of the Global Platform for Disaster Reduction and the World Reconstruction Conference. Never has such an event been more timely. The image of lives and community destroyed in recent catastrophes have touched us all. In Pakistan, Haiti, Japan, we have seen the many phases of disaster, the human tragedy of lost family, friends, and job, and physical devastations of home, school, and hospital, and also financial and economic burden of recovery and reconstruction. The frequency of disaster is increasing, and their economic costs rising. Rapid urbanization and the risks associated with changing climate can further accelerate this trend. According to recent study, the number of people living with the threat of earthquakes and cyclones in city could triple by 2050. And we know that the poorest are always hit first and hardest. The 21st century will increasingly be defined by how we address these global challenges.
Today, as you see, that the global economic environment is in a very risky and vulnerable situation. A lot of developed countries is now struggling with their own problem, whether this is related to their financial issue as well as the fiscal or their budget issue. Many of the regional cooperation is actually play a very important role. I mean, of course, European has their own experience in integrating their economy.
Catch cry of President's election campaign, which I just met President Aquino. I try to spell it in Philippine language, Kung walang kurap, walang mahirap. I think it's good enough. As an Indonesia is close to Filipina. There is no corruption, mean also no poverty. I think this is in many ways come to define the new government's agenda. My impression after the meeting with President Aquino that he still very strongly committed and even have a very detailed vision and strategy and policy action that he tried to implement in his 6 years term. So this is really a very good beginning, and it's what I call it a necessary condition when the top management, the top leader is really have a strong commitment without any reserve to implement good governance and anti-corruption. I would like to close by asking President in this case, based on the similar experience. With the benefit of hindsight, President Saakashvili in this case, what would you have done differently? I'm assuming in this case it's going to be the advice for the next president or the president for other country in this case that is going to start saying that I'm sure in many developing countries the most popular political promise of any political leader is always that I'm going to fight against corruption. So what would you do differently, and what is the advice if you give to other prime minister, president that is run and have this commitment to fight against corruption? The second one, because Georgia is a small country, relatively small in a way, it's not saying that it is easy, but will that kind of experience will be different if it is applied to the big country in a way? So maybe that is the two most important questions which I would like to ask before I'm taking this privilege to be here and then asking the question to the President first. And I would like to hear the President in explaining and sharing with us even more that experience. Thank you.
To the generous review of what's happening also in Indonesia. It was very interesting to listen.
One commentator called Indonesia's loss and the world's gain.
Jadi kemarin kan waktu berita dimasukin penjara, seorang calon bilang itu akibat dampak dari neoliberalisasi katanya. Jadi sampai mana gitu ya ketergantungan atau dalam konsep atau dalam kegiatan luar negeri itu merusak kemandirian jati diri bangsa gitu.
Wimar, saya sekolah dari Jawa, Indonesia, Jakarta, ke Amerika, balik lagi ke Indonesia. Saya nggak merasa dengan berinteraksi dengan bule, dengan orang kayak Wimar yang rambutnya bagus, dengan orang Papua, dengan orang Aceh, atau dengan orang Malaysia, dengan Afrika. Saya nggak merasa bahwa kemandirian dan jati diri saya hilang. Justru saya menganggap bahwa saya sekarang pengalaman, pengetahuan menjadi jauh lebih lengkap di dalam melihat dunia itu secara utuh. Pada akhirnya dunia disatukan oleh satu, yaitu concern mengenai manusianya yang ingin membuat bumi ini terus bisa menjadi tempat untuk hidup bersama. Indonesia, Wimar, saya, seluruh pemirsa disatukan oleh satu perasaan bahwa kita adalah warga negara Indonesia yang punya hak dan kewajiban yang sama. Nah, perasaan itu tidak bisa hanya kemudian digerus hanya karena kita berinteraksi dengan bule, dengan Jepang, dengan Cina. Kalau kita ngomong sama bule kita merasa, atau kita bahkan berhutang tapi saya bayar lagi dengan wajah kita tetap tegak, saya nggak merasa saya menjadi tergantung dan kemandirian saya hilang. Indonesia mau dan bisa melakukan itu.
Ya, akhirnya
karena
memang
kita punya personality yang bagus.
Kembali pada orangnya, mau minder atau mau pede begitu ya.
Ya, terakhir Bu, mungkin sebelum berangkat ke Amerika ada yang Ibu ingin sampaikan atau Ibu memberi pesan begitu kepada siapa Ibu inginkan, siapa saja atau apa saja pada masyarakat Indonesia. Saya sampaikan, negeri ini negeri yang sangat luar biasa indah dan baik. Jangan pernah putus asa mencintai Indonesia. Kadang-kadang angel, susah, tapi this is our country, ini negara kita. Cintailah dan tunjukkan cinta itu tanpa ada rasa takut, tanpa ada merasa bahwa Anda tidak berarti. Anak, sesungguhnya nasihat sangat menyebalkan, tapi wajibnya seorang ibu, layaknya sewejang dua wejang ku berikan.
persyaratan lengkap agar kita tidak saru. Anakku, engkau lelaki layak di segala cuaca. Nalurimu lebih tajam dari harimau. Harus begitu. Maju saja, jalan terus. Engkau sendiri yang memilih lencana apa yang terbaik untukmu. Anakku, jadilah panglima untuk dirimu sendiri. Kau tahu pasti kapan harus berangkat perang, kapan harus bertahan untuk mengatur daya juang. Anakku, jangan bahasakan kalahmu dengan patah hati. Rahimku tak punya tempat lagi untuk kau sembunyi. Terima kasih.
Wow, Ibu Sri Mulyani Indrawati.
I said we need a collective effort based on trust and passion. And for us to have a more effective World Bank that can deliver results.